Welcome to our lecture on the genus Ixodes. Ixodes is a genus of hard-bodied ticks in the family Ixodidae. For the learning objectives, by the end of this lecture, students will be able to identify the morphological characteristics of the genus Ixodes, distinguishing them from other hard tick genera. Number two, describe the three-host life cycle of Ixodes spp and its duration. Number three, recognize the key veterinary species of Ixodes and their geographic distribution. Number four, analyze the veterinary and public health significance of the Ixodes ticks and develop control strategies for Ixodes on companion animals and livestock. The genus Ixodes belongs to the family Ixodidae, which are also known as the hard ticks. Ixodes is the sole genus within the Prostriata group of hard ticks. So the term prostriata refers to a specific anatomical feature where the anal groove is positioned anteriorly, forming a curve in front of the anus. So this is a key trait used to distinguish them from all the other hard ticks. So as shown in the diagram, we have here the anus, and we have here the anal groove. So in the case of the Ixodes, the anal groove is located anterior to the anus. So it can be differentiated from other hard ticks, which are also known as the metastriata, because in these hard ticks, the anal grooves are located posterior to the anus. In terms of the veterinary significance, the genus Ixodes is considered to be the largest tick genus in terms of the number of species. There are about 245 species described, and they are crucial vectors of bacterial, viral, and protozoan agents. In terms of their habitat, they prefer humid, forested, or shrubby environments. This is an example of a habitat in which the Ixodes capillaris or the black-legged tick can be abundant. So this habitat is described to be a hardwood forest with thick leaf litter. For the morphology and identification of the Ixodes, so one of the ways to identify or one key identifying feature of the Ixodes is the location of the anal groove. So the Ixodes ticks have the anal groove located anterior to the anus. So this is an example of a diagram now showing the differentiation between Ixodes and those of the other ticks. So for the Ixodes, the anal groove is again anterior to the anus. This stick is not an Ixodes stick because the anal groove is posterior to the anus. So this is another diagram showing the location of the anal groove, and that is anterior, and that is described as an inverted U shape. So the other ticks have a posterior anal groove, and that is also known as the metastriata. For the Ixodes, the location of the anal groove is also known as the prostriata. Another feature is the scutum for the Ixodes ticks. The scutum exhibits no white or colored pattern, so that term is known as inornate, no, inornate scutum. And for the festoons and the eyes, so these structures are absent for the Ixodes ticks. The diagram shows the dorsal view of a typical male. So this is a male and female Ixodes with identifying features of the genus Arrowed. So we have here the, of course, the scutum. Now for the, this is the female and this is the male. So there is the absence of patterns. So that is an inornate scutum. The ornamentation is absent for the festoons. So these structures are absent. Now festoons and the eyes. For the mouth parts or the capitulum, so the mouth parts are described to be long and the basis capituli is parallel-sided. For the sexual dimorphism, as in all the other hard ticks, the female scutum, as shown in the diagram, covers only the anterior part, and the male scutum covers the entire dorsum. The genus Ixodes are three-host ticks. In terms of the duration of the life cycle, so it will generally last for about 2 to 3 years, but can extend to 6 years depending on the climate, as shown in the diagram. So host specificity, so they are considered to be low. They have low specificity, meaning that they are generalist feeders. So when we say exodestics, they are considered to be highly generalist feeders. meaning they feed on a vast array of hosts rather than specializing in one species. Now, because again, there are three host sticks. As shown in the diagram, the first hosts that are being fed on are, for example, the rodents. Then for the another second host, we have the rabbits, and we also have the third host are, for example, no, the ruminants. So their generalist nature coupled with the three hosts life cycle allows them to bridge different ecological niches and transmit pathogens to a wide range of mammals, birds, and reptiles. For the larvae and the nymph, no, as shown in the diagram, so they feed on small mammals such as in this case we have the rodents, the birds, and the reptiles. For the adults, they feed on large mammals including the deer, the livestock, the dogs, as well as humans. So in terms of the behavior, they are active questing or they climb the vegetation to attach to the passing host. So again, for the review now of the life cycle of the Ixodistics, the diagram shows the life cycle of the Ixodistics with three hosts showing the three stages, the larva, the nymph, and the adult. The eggs incubate in the ground, litter, and they are protected against stressful environmental conditions. When the larvae hatch, they climb the vegetation, as shown in the diagram, questing for a host. So these are the hosts of the exodistics. The larvae feed on the host, and when engorged, they drop off to the ground and molt to the nymph. Now again, as shown in the diagram, and after feeding on the host, they molt again off the host. The resulting adults attach to the third host. They feed and mate, and the females drop off for ovipositing on the ground. For the important species and their significance, we are going to start with the Ixodes scapularis. This is also known as the black-legged tick or the deer tick, and this is mainly distributed in North America. They are important vectors of Lyme disease. So Lyme disease is a zoonotic bacterial infection caused by the bacteria Borrelia burgdorferi, and this is again transmitted by the exodestics. It can also transmit or vector Anaplasma phagocytophilum, Babesia microti, and Powassan virus. For the host, the adults they prefer the white-tailed deer, so its name deer tick. Another important species is the Ixodes ricinus. This is also known as castor bean tick, and they are mainly distributed in Europe. They are important vectors of Lyme disease, again, that is caused by Borrelia burgdorferi, tick-borne fever caused by Anaplasma, louping eel virus and Shiv, and Babesia. We also have the Ixodes pacificus, also known as the western black-legged tick. They are mainly distributed in North America in the western part. They are important vectors of Anaplasma phagocytophilum, also Lyme disease, but less efficient compared to Ixodes capillaris. Another important species is the Ixodes holocyclus, also known as the Australian paralysis tick. So as the name suggests, they cause severe, often fatal, acute ascending flaccid motor paralysis in dogs, cats, and livestock via neurotoxins in the saliva. For the dynamics of the pathogen transmission. So again, the ticks in general are important vectors of different pathogens. So we have bacteria, viruses, as well as protozoa. So for the attachment time, of course, the one of the properties of the ticks is that they will attach, to the host for several days for blood feeding. So that is a characteristic of the larvae, the nymph, and the adult. So it will usually require 24 to 48 hours for the Borrelia transmission. So of course, the Borrelia burgdorferi, this is a causative agent of the zoonotic bacterial disease or infection that is being transmitted by exodestics, and that is the Lyme disease. So again, there is a requirement, no, a minimum time of 24 to 48 hours for this to be transmitted through the saliva. Another is the transstadial transmission. So pathogens acquired by the larvae or the nymph are maintained through to the adult stage. So yung transstadial transmission, this is exhibited by the Ixodes ticks, and this is the process now where the pathogens acquired during one life stage. So for example, the larva or the nymph acquired the pathogen during blood feeding. This persists through molting to the next stage, and that next stage is the nymph or the adult, allowing the tick to transmit diseases after feeding. Another is the tick paralysis. So this is caused by the salivary toxins, primarily again by the Ixodes solocyclus in Australia, Ixodes robicundus in South Africa, and Ixodes ricinus in Europe. For the disease control and prevention, for the diagnosis, we have the identification of the tick. So for the Ixodes, we have the anterior anal groove, long mouth parts of the capitulum, and the absence of the festoons and the eyes. For the prevention tiers, we have the avoidance. So we have to consider the habitat and the behavior of the ticks. So we must avoid shaded, humid, and leaf litter habitats. We also have to check for the tick, check for the ticks, the host, attachment of the tick to the host. So we have to rapid manual removal of the ticks within the 24-hour window from the start of the attachment to stop the transmission. Now, again, because it will require about 1 to 2 days or 24 to 48 hours now for the bacteria to be transmitted in the saliva for the transmission of the pathogens, such as in the case of Lyme disease. For the chemical control, we can use oral isoxazoline. So these are, again, preventative or therapeutic. These are highly effective for pets, monthly or every 3 months. So example of oral isoxazolines are the prolalanir and the apoxolaner. We also have the topical spot-ons or colors, the permethrins and imidacloprid, but they should be used in caution with cats since these are toxic to cats. For the vaccination, Lyme vaccine are available for dogs. Summary: Ixodes are long-mouthed inornate ticks with an anterior anal groove. They are three-host ticks that often have 2 to 3 year life cycles. They are the primary vectors for Lyme disease and anaplasmosis in the northern hemisphere, and the Ixodes cyclus also causes severe tick paralysis, particularly in Australia. For the control and prevention, we have the rapid removal. It's crucial to prevent disease transmission, particularly during the window of less than 24 hours after the start of the attachment.